Tim Blankenship here with Divorce661.com, a full-service legal document preparer or assistant serving all of California courts. If you're going through an amicable divorce, I can help you. Today, we are going over a rejected judgment. So this is a client that has hired me and who had their judgment rejected, and we're going over an Alameda County judgment case, been filed since August 2022, so well over a year old. And it should have been a simple divorce because it was amicable, no, very minimal assets, no kids, no alimony, um, and they're in a full agreement and a short-term marriage to boot. Super simple divorce. There's no way this should have gone on, 14 months. This is a case we could have had done in just a couple of months, because with Alameda County, the judgment does have to be mailed in, and there's about a 3-month review time for processing. So I've been doing these videos with when clients hire us, because I think it's one of the most challenging processes to get through on your own. Half of our business comes to us from clients who have started and tried to do their own divorce and got stuck at some point in the process. With this particular client, they'd even turned in their judgment, assuming it was correct. They'd hired LegalZoom, which I'm not a fan of, to do their paperwork, and it was just absolutely a mess. And we are taking care of that and getting that corrected. So I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to show you the judgment reject sheet. This is what you can expect, some version of this if your case is in Alameda County and your judgment gets rejected. When you turn it into court, it'll be the first time your paperwork is ever reviewed by the court. And Alameda County, of all the other counties in California that we work with, which is all of them, they give the most detailed account of what's wrong with your paperwork. They even say thank you for submitting your proposed judgment for review. They really appreciate your time. I don't know if that's true, but that's what they say. It's kind of funny. So let's get into this rejected judgment issue. What happened is, like with most people, even with their own divorce, they initially can get their summons and petition through with no issues. Sometimes with our rejects, we do have to amend the petition because they made some critical errors in there. But this one, that was the only thing that LegalZoom did correct in this, is the summons and petition. Everything else went sideways after that. So let's read these rejected issues here. Number 2 says petitioner must serve their preliminary declarations of disclosure on the respondent. Petitioner must complete the declaration of disclosure form FL 140 and serve it on respondent. It must be served with attachments and other necessary documents. Okay, so you have to do your preliminary disclosures. The issue they had is their declaration of disclosure, their FL 141. This is what tells the court that you actually did your disclosures. If you have an amicable divorce, the income and expense declaration does not get filed with the court, and you never file the FL 142, which is a schedule of assets and debts. In this case, they prepared their FL 160s, which is the property declarations, and did file those with the court. And as you know, I always recommend not filing those. They were totally unnecessary to be filed. This is what happens when you use a form builder like LegalZoom, and there's hundreds of other companies that do that. You put crap in, you get crap out, and that's basically what happened here. They put in the wrong information, and the wrong information was printed for them to be filed. So the 141, let me pull up my screen here and just show you the 141. Here's where people are going wrong on the 141. This was the error they had. So you're going to go here and do petitioners, preliminary, you're the petitioner, and then you say petitioners 140. That's what that rejection item was just talking about. And income and expense declaration, or the 160s, which is what they did, were served on the other party. And then you put either by mail or personal service. And then you're going to put a date here. So the flaw they had with this case was they didn't mark how it was served, and they didn't mark the date. And I'll bring this back in here. I think I jumped ahead because I did read that. Oops, so I want this open now. Here we go. All right. This includes describing whose disclosures were served. As I just mentioned, that's where they did wrong. They didn't say whose was served. The method of service, talking about by mail or in person, and then only the petitioner or their attorney of record may sign the 141. So just make sure you sign it. And then essentially the same issue was for reject item here, number 3, respondent's declaration of disclosure is required. And so in this case, if they're trying to do, they wanted to do a default with a written agreement. And when that's the case, the respondent still needs to do their financial disclosures. And they did not do them in this case. And then what happened was, well, let me get back into that because I want to talk to you about this fatal flaw that LegalZoom did and filed a form that is costing the client another secondary filing fee unnecessarily. And I just had to let the client know that that's what happened. So same issue with the respondent's 141, properly address the preliminary declarations disclosure when it has a completed header, indicates who is completing the form. So when they're, in this case, let me just pull this up. You got to fill in this top header. That's what they're talking about, the header portion here. They didn't do that. You didn't say, fill out this information here. And then, of course, you have to go in and say, who is it? Respondents or petitioners? Is it the preliminary or final? And as I tell you, you don't need the finals if you're going through an amicable divorce. And then just make sure, in this case, it's respondent. You're just making sure you check the respondent boxes, served on the other party, and by personal service or by mail. And don't forget the date. That's what they did wrong here. Let me bring this back over. So that was issue number 2. They're pretty much similar, but they were different reject items. Let's go to the next one. Number 4 here, FL80, item number 3, incomplete error. You have submitted a proposed judgment, FL180, that is incomplete at item number 3. At item 3, check the box for item 3A or 3B is applicable. Add the date the court acquired jurisdiction over the respondent. Okay, so let's break that down. Sounds like a big deal, but it really isn't. But if you were to read that on your own, you're probably thinking, oh my God, what do they want? So what were they talking about here? They're talking about 3A or B. So here's number 3, the court acquired jurisdiction over the respondent on. So the jurisdiction date, and we're right here, starts when either the respondent is served or the respondent appeared. Most of the time, it's going to be the respondent was served because you filed for divorce, had them served. And the date they are served is the date you're going to put in here. That's simple. It could be the respondent appeared if like say we have clients where normally we tell our clients not to respond because it just charges them another fee and it's amicable and we're handling it as a neutral third party. So we're in control of the entire process. So in order to save the money, we just don't have the response filed, but we do have some clients that say, Tim, we want to file the response for whatever reason. And I don't, it's fine. It doesn't make it even any more difficult. But what I do in those cases is we just don't do the serving part. We'll file it. Like if it's, it doesn't matter on the county, but as soon as we get a case number issued by the court on the petition, we don't serve it. We just right behind that file the response, and the response serves the same purpose as acquiring jurisdiction as the person being served. So we would just do that in that case. And what else was on that list? So that was it. They didn't mark the box to say that the respondent was served on, and that will cause a rejection. Number 5, identity theft warning. This was an interesting one. Anyone may request a copy of the final judgment in this case and steal personally identifying information from it. Please carefully review the proposed judgment before resubmitting it, as well as any attached marital settlement agreements or documents to ensure that you do not include full account numbers for any financial accounts or any other sensitive information. To protect your privacy and to guard against possible identity theft, you should include only the last 3 or 4 numbers of each account. For example, petitioner's checking account with Bank of America account number ending in 1234. Remove the entirety of anyone's social security number from the proposed judgment. So what they did in this case, and I can't show you the actual documents because it has their assets and debts listed. They did 2 things wrong, and I might be jumping ahead because I think they addressed it in another issue. Number 1 is because so I guess this could happen whether you're doing it on your own or if you went through like LegalZoom. They put information into the software program for LegalZoom and they just put the name of the account. Like in this example, let's say they said Bank of America. That wasn't their account, but let's say they put Bank of America checking. Well, they didn't put an account number on a lot of things. They didn't put license plates of the vehicle or year, make, and model of the vehicle, which they require. They need to specifically be able to identify it, but without providing too much information. And the other error that they made that the court was bringing their attention to with this identity theft warning is that on some of the assets, they had the entire account number listed, and you never want to do that. Only give the court what they need. Last 4 digits of account numbers. Never put your social security number. There's no document that requires your social security number on the settlement agreement. So yeah, Bank of America, 1234, year, make, model, license plate, or even more privately, last 6 numbers of your VIN, last 6 digits, it's all numbers. But yeah, if there's no account number, put no specified account number, and you can say, in petitioner's, name, something like that. Number 6, financial accounts not specified. So this was the other error. They didn't, it says some of the financial accounts listed in the parties' marriage settlement agreement are not sufficiently identified. So in this case, they were just saying Bank of America checking, and there was no account number listed. So don't give them too much, but give them enough that they need. And we're talking about the last 4 digits. They say 3 or 4. I've always used 4 digits, and you basically will put, X dash, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the account numbers. Number 7 error. Yesterday, we did a judgment reject tutorial like this for LA County, and there was 10 errors. And if you look at it, they're not as specific as this one is being. They really take the time to explain to you why you need to do it. Number 7 here, common errors. Let me get rid of that. There we go. Common errors on resubmission. Address correct item number 5 on the proposed judgment FL 180 if necessary after addressing the issues identified above. Resubmit the entire proposed judgment, including mirror settlement, envelopes, and other documents. Okay, so I don't think I need to read that all to you. If you make any changes, you have to change your 180, your 170. There wasn't anything on here that they needed to change that was affected by those changes. Let me see what they're referring to on number 5, after you correct number 5. What was number 5? Oh, they're talking about number 5 above as in regarding to the jurisdiction date. So that's what we had to fix. Now, one thing I wanted to show you on this case is that fatal flaw that's causing them to have to pay an extra fee. When you do a default with written agreement, you do not, this is the case summary that I've pulled up, and everything's been redacted, so there's no personal information on here. But there's this form called Notice of Acknowledgement. I'm sorry, I'm giving you the wrong form number. It's called, let me pull it up. There we go. It is called Apparent Stipulation of Waivers. When you do this, this has the same effect as filing a response, and it triggers a $435 court fee or $450, depending on what county you're in. So LegalZoom prepared this form and they filed it. I don't know if the LegalZoom filed it or the client filed it, but this, you have to pay a fee in order to file this. And what's interesting about what Alameda County did is they accepted the filing and then said the court, that they owe the $435. Normally, any other court, for the most part, will reject it and not file it and say a $435 fee is due. And that would have been the preferred method for them to reject it. And that way I could say, okay, great. They rejected the appearance stip and waiver. So now we can just do it as a default with agreement and they won't have to pay the fee. But the court actually accepted it. And I saw that on the case summary, which I just showed you. And I pulled up their account with Alameda, and I have a login for the county. And it shows that the respondent owes a fee due. Clients, I'm 100% know that the client had no idea that was going to happen. And it's probably gonna get shocked to get my email to say, hey, in addition to having hired me, this happened, and now you have to pay this other fee because this form was filed. Technically, the respondent has to pay it, but you know how that goes. He'll probably, since he's the one that's been spearheading the divorce, he'll probably be the one that ends up paying the fee. And there's no way around that because the court accepted this appearance form. And now they're going to expect that fee. Had I not checked that and checked the case summary, plus I had the client send me all their documents so I can review everything, make sure everything else, go through and make sure I don't have to fix anything else. When I saw that on there, I said, I asked them first, hey, do you remember paying a fee? And I didn't get a response. And then when I looked on there, I saw that the court actually was showing that those monies were due. So those were the issues I had for you today. I wanted to talk to you about. I will be doing this on a routine basis. Half of my business is judgment rejections, and where people come to me at some point in the process, they got stuck. These people went all the way through to a judgment reject. The one I did yesterday was they had their judgment rejected 3 times. Some people file the initial summons and petition and then look at the next steps and like, I'm going to have Tim take care of it. This looks like a lot. I prefer to handle your divorce from the beginning because like this case takes me twice as long to review and fix than if we just did it correct from the beginning. But as many videos as I do, going on 3,000, I think, before the end of the year, tutorials and all, talking to you guys how to do all these things. I know there's other services out there, and I'm just one little company, but I would look forward to assisting you. Please like the video and subscribe, and I'll be having some playlists I'll be setting up that we'll be doing this for every county, because I do work with every county in California. So I'm creating playlists for these specific judgment reject tutorials, so you guys can see how those are fixed. So if you come across those same issues, you can take care of it on your own, or just say, you know what, Tim, you look like you know what you're doing. Why don't you take care of it for us? Tim Blankenship, Divorce 6661. I hope too many sixes. Tim, Divorce 661. Schedule a free consultation if you like. We can go over your paperwork. And if you just want me to do a review, I was telling folks the other day, I'm looking at doing these reviews for free. Just send me your reject sheet and I'll go over them. The exchange there is I'm helping you, and you're actually helping me, because I can provide additional video content to folks who are looking to retain me. We will talk to you guys later. You have a great day.